running power for making coffee.
Oh, coffee. Jet boil.
Yeah,
You've got to have a jet boil.
yeah.
So that's a whole other segment of gear taken, kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously, you have to think where you have limited space. I'm not taking the whole kitchen sink with me, so jet boil is a good idea. You know, a little like used to take a big.
A tote?
No,
Blackstone.
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 But if you don't have space for that,
Yeah. So we took.
I take a little tube burner that folds up, minimal, folds up, easy to carry. What are you going to eat on? Take a mess kit, you know, like the old Army mess kits. Simple thing. Couple pots and pans. I'm becoming more of a big proponent of one pan and just get a cast iron pan. Throw it in your machine. Who cares if it gets dirty, dusty, whatever? You wash it out and put it on the grill. You can cook over an open fire. You can cook anything with that, but you got to have, you know, the kitchen stuff's got to go along with when you plan your meals. You got the right stuff to seasoning. How do you cut stuff up when you're going to eat it? You know, condiments. How do you store those? So all that goes into the planning too. And then the only other thing I would say about clothing and stuff that we're on, sleeping bags and tents. And the only reason I bring up tents and sleeping bags, is this is something where I evolve over every time. I do research on this stuff all the time. How can I better, like I have a great tent, but it's too big to carry anywhere. It sets up in like 15 seconds. It's a Gazelle tent, love it. When we camp places that's not overlanding, I throw that in the truck and it's the greatest tent ever. Plenty of room, I can stand up in it, fits all that, my stuff, sets up easy, tears down easy, and it's heavy duty. But I can't take that overlanding. So I looked at other tents. A Core was a nice tent, but it just wasn't, it didn't have enough room. I could have went bigger, but it didn't. Now yours is nice, the Instant Up one, but we ended up taking, me and him took 10-man tents to Idaho.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, you took a 10-man tent for one guy? And I said, the reason I did it is because I timed it over and over. It took me 1 minute and 30 seconds to set that 10-man tent up. Faster than every tent I had except for the Gazelle. And I thought, if we're going to put them up, take them down, put them up, take them down, 8 or 10 times, I don't want to be spending, half hour, 45 minutes trying to, because you get tired of doing that and that ruins the experience. So that's something where I'm evolving. I saw a setup that Tom used and Jim used in Idaho. Tom is a hammock guy. And then he bought basically an enclosure that goes down to the ground if he wants to, over top of the hammock, that kept wind, rain out of his, even though the hammock comes with that stuff. And then he had blankets underneath that were thermal that he could put under to sleep on. So he thought of everything. I like that setup. I don't know how comfortable a hammock would be sleeping because I've never done it, but my son swears by him. The other thing was Jim went minimalistic on a tent. He took a cot, and I got one of these, and I've used it before. He took a cot that has a tent that goes over it, and then he bought one of those enclosures that it's like a rain fly for a tent, but you tie it off and stake it off, and it just covers up that, in addition to the tent or the cot and little tent over the cot. And he was able to put his gear underneath there and clothes.
He could have set his up inside ours.
Yes. But these are things that, like, I do research all the time. I look for new gear all the time. And I like to test gear too. And
we like to test gear also.
I bug you all the time about gear. What do you think of this? What do you think of that?
If you have gear and would like it field tested.
Yeah, look us up. Look us up.
It's in the description. Our email address is in the description.
But yeah, the other thing too is Greg say you had the Goal Zero, right? Goal Zero you had?
That's the one I have, but they've got Jackeries, Blue
Yeah, but
Eddies.
you were the first one to bring that, and that, when we sat discussing that trip, it was, okay, how do I charge my camera batteries? How do I charge my phone if I need it? How do I charge my tablet for maps? And Greg brought that thing, and it worked great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've since bought one. So,
I think I'm
and
on the
Keith's
verge-
got one.
I think I'm on the
And
verge of buying one.
yeah, so again, we've evolved over time. Now, we could probably pretty much handle anything now with what we have,
Well-
charging wise.
Yeah, sure. And one of the things that you didn't mention, I think it's important for communication purposes, is a sat phone. That way, if
Starlink takes care of that now.
yeah, that may be very well true, but in an emergency, you still have to set up that
Yep.
that Starlink, and that takes time.
Yeah.
So if you have the means to have that sat phone,
Yeah. Somebody, I don't know which trip it was on. Maybe it was. Somebody had one of those Garmin InReaches with us that you can
for
text.
texting, yeah.
For emergencies or whatever, you can text and it leaves breadcrumbs or something for whoever's watching your location or whatever.
Those GPS, the tablets, the iPads, we have the ability to text with those. And if we're hooked up to the GPS units that we bought,
Mhm.
we could communicate that way.
Yep.
Without investing any more money on a Garmin.
Yeah, Starlink takes care of everything for me. And thanks, Elon, for the free Starlink Mini.
Yeah.
So I just bought all the equipment for that. That's going to go with me when I camp, overland, wherever I go that's remote. I'm going to have that. And, some people say, what do you need that for? Well, I can tell you, I was sold after Idaho how well that thing that they had worked.
Yeah, because even after the emergency, we ended up camping at the same place as the guy who didn't get injured, Scott. And he brought his Starlink down. Every one of us that were sitting there tethered to it, we called our wives. It worked great.
Yeah, because we didn't want them to hear about Life Flight or something from somebody else and think we were involved in it, So, but yeah. So I think
Tarps. I think
tarps.
extra tarps is a great idea to protect your equipment from getting wet, your clothes from getting wet.
So I think to sum up what we've done, gear and packing stuff, I use this, like I said, again, this book gives lists of what to take and everything. Not that you have to go out and buy this, but it's a good book. If you want to get involved in this, you can hit us up. I'll share any information I have with anybody. Some people are like that, share information. Some people like to keep it, for whatever reason. And either way, it doesn't. I'm more on the side that I would encourage people to do what we're doing. And I've talked to more people about stuff. I'm not a big conversationalist, as you guys know. But when I get in these trips and I start doing stuff like this, the one thing that helped me get involved in this was I found people that are willing to tell you some of the stuff I didn't know. And, people want to do this. More power to you. It's great. Experience it. It's a great thing to do. So
It's an app, kind of a checklist of camping needs. I do it for the side-by-side trips. I also have a separate list for RVing. So the things that we need to take with us on our trips: tent, sleeping bag, pillow, mattress, headlamp, flashlights, camp chairs or something to sit on, your first aid kits, extra ratchet straps and bungee cords. We carry at least 2 air compressors, duct tape, wire ties, some type of power supply, your camp stove, your fuel or propane, lighter, matches, pots and pans, dishwashing supplies. You can't forget the bottle openers or the can openers either. It doesn't work so well.
Manual ones,
Yeah.
to be safe.
Knives, cutting boards, cutlery, cups, mugs, coffee filters, some type of table, a folding table, wash basin. We just carry small little,
Foldable, yeah.
yeah,
Collapsible ones.
or Rubbermaid totes or something like that for washing dishes. Electric kettle that we could plug into the Goal Zero. Trash bags. Because what you bring in, you have to take out.
Yep.
You can't leave your trash all over the place, otherwise we lose the ability to go camping in some of these places. Rob's already mentioned the water. Wayne mentioned paper towels or microfiber towels, cooler ice.
Toilet paper. Always bring toilet paper.
Sometimes you have to bring firewood with you if you can't locally source it. Wet bag for laundry bags or trash bags for laundry bag. All your toiletries. Sunglasses, water bottle, earplugs. There's a lot of guys on these trips that snore, and if you don't have earplugs, you can't sleep.
I ain't never snored a day in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's why I'm sitting over here.
Some of the other things, going back to equipment for the side-by-side, we've mentioned the toolkit, oil, filter, grease fittings.
Yep.
Spare tire repair kit or tire repair kit, extra belts. Now the Yamaha guys are pretty good for 10 years.
Yeah.
But we've lost a few belts with the Razor guys that have gone with us. So, and Wayne mentioned fuses, extra bolts and nuts, jump box. We carry a jump box too, and then spare gas cans with gas. All right, what else you want to talk about?
I think we're pretty good. I think we can tell everybody what we're planning on doing in the future. So, a couple different things. In addition to, this is not, I will tell you that, and if you do any of this, it's not cheap, but we, the three of us, don't do any of our service on our machines. That's all done by a dealership. And the reason that is for me, I won't speak for these guys, but for me, is I have nowhere to get my machine up in the air high enough to get under and change fluids. And I could do all that stuff, that's not a problem, but I just don't have the facility to do that. If I did, I would probably be, so I have the dealership do it, which has a cost to it, but we have a dealership that treats us pretty good. In addition to that, just doing this overlanding and trail riding and things like that it's expensive. It's an expensive addiction, whatever you want to call it, habit, whatever. So you have to go into it with your eyes wide open. I look at it this way. It just sounds like a joke or a cliche or whatever. I can't take my money with me. So I'm a little bit more, because I'm towards retirement, I'm a little bit more spend happy than I was when I was younger. Because I look at it this way. I don't know how long I'm going to be on this earth. So I want to go to as many places as I can, get as much as I can before I croak. That sounds terrible.
You put it so elegantly.
No kidding.
It's blunt, to the point.
I just want to spend.
I don't want to be one of those guys that say, well, I never did this, I never did that. So getting to what I was trying to point out, because it's expensive, we decided, like we went to Idaho last fall. That's an expensive trip. It was 30 hours hauling machines out. We had to fly, me and Wayne had to fly because we don't have enough vacation time to do all the things we do. So a couple of the other guys hauled the machines out for us, which is great. I'm glad they did that, but it's expensive. So we're gonna, my plan going forward, we've kind of loosely talked about it. There's things that we want to do out west and there's things we want to do on the East Coast. So East Coast is a little bit cheaper than going all the way out west. So we went west in the fall of last year. This year we're going to stay east and go to Canada and ride to the sideshow guys. Part of that's going to be staying in a campground and working out of a campground, and then part of it's gonna be overlanding, just go out on Crown Land and
We're gonna get the
Pitch
sideshow guys introduced into overlanding.
And they're one of the guys that, we went to Hatfield with them this past fall for a week, and they, they've never done overlanding stuff, and they were asking us questions. Well, how do you do this? So that kind of spurred us to do these videos, because we've had those questions from other people, even other friends that I have that don't do this. Ask me like, what is overlanding? What do you guys do on those trips or whatever? So, you do videos. It's the people that are into it will watch the videos, but what we found is if that's not something you do or whatever, you don't pay attention to the video. That they don't have a sense of everything that goes into it like we do. So
I think that's another thing that's come out of these trips is relationships we've made with people. Don's ATV Adventures, the sideshow guys, we met them in Canada when we went to Ontario. We've met other people out on the trails.
we were just in Mines and Meadows.
Scott Martin out in Idaho. We still talk to them occasionally.
We were in Mines and Meadows the other day, and I had 3 people come up to me, and they saw Not Done Yet Adventures on the back of the machine, said, "We follow you guys. We love your videos." So, when we started this, is like, people looked at us like, "Who the hell are you guys?" Now we got people that come up to us and talk to us, That's the cool side of it.
I think the funniest story about that is the first person that ever recognized us was in Newfoundland, Canada.
Yeah.
She came up and she was like, "Oh my God, you guys are the Not Done Yet Adventures crew," and we were like,
Pretty cool.
She said, "You guys are the Ohio guys,
yeah,
right?"
yeah. She said, "You guys are the Ohio guys," and that was at the Sabina plane crash.
Yeah.
So, that was the first time we were ever recognized. And that's I think the furthest we've been away from home.
So we're going
Well, at that
to
point, it was the furthest we'd been away from home.
we're going to stay on the East Coast this year, and that's we're only doing the other thing too was I don't think we mentioned it, but we've done for the last 4 years, Hatfield,
Yeah.
4 or 5. We've done a week-long trip to Hatfield. We stayed at Devil's Ashland, then Devil's Backbone, then we're
Twice.
back to Ashland. This year we're going to do an abbreviated trip there, just for maybe ride 2 trail systems for extended weekend, but not the week-long trip. Try to cut back a little bit. Go to Canada. We're going to spend 10 days in Canada this year. I think it's 10.
Is it 10? Yeah. Probably.
9, something like that. But try to find other places locally that we can ride for a weekend. And we got, again, I'm in the planning stage now. We picked up some places. AOAA in Pennsylvania is a place I looked at. Michigan again.
Tecumseh Trails is going to have a new set of
Yeah,
trails.
Tecumseh Trails is brand new. They moved to a different location. We really like Mountain Ridge in PA.
It's out there by Shanksville.
Yep. So we're going to do some of that in Canada in the fall. And then next year, tentatively, I have it planned already, Arizona Peace Trail. And then also on the list that I'd like to do, Utah. We have 3 spots in Utah we want to hit: Salt Lake, Moab, and Sand Hollow. Black Hills, another trip that I have planned. That's pretty old, but I've refreshed it a little bit. John and Greg were out there camping, riding
We did a little bit of side by
side stuff. Colorado is another place I'd like to go to. Arkansas is another place that I just started looking at. I would love to go back to Newfoundland again and take the wives to that one, and maybe just do the West Coast side, which was where I thought the most scenic part of it was. Not that the East Coast was bad. It was just, it seemed like there was more to see and do on the west side of the island.
Tennessee.
Tennessee's another place. We could do trail riding or overlanding. They got a waterfall trip that you can do, not all by side, but that's something where we could park and take a drive out somewhere and maybe do waterfall. That's a wise thing, I think. We have so much. I have so much up here and so many things I planned that I don't know if we're going to get them all in, but I'm going to try. You know,
We're going to give it hell.
are we going to be able to do this, 10 years from now? I mean, Greg's almost 70 now.
I probably will be able to.
So that's where we are. Again, the only thing I would say is, we covered a lot of information. I'm sure we missed stuff. Give us a like, subscribe if you want to. Throw some comments in there. We'll answer them. If you got questions, send us an email. We're here to help. That's the goal. We want to get people, we like to meet people, and we want to get people involved in what we think is a really cool thing. This overlanding thing, to us, is a really cool thing. We've all met some unique people. We've seen some unique sights. Been a great experience. Glad we got into it.
Absolutely.
So, anything else to say, Greg?
No, but
deep thought.
No, not at all. At my age, you don't get in deep thought about anything. But I would say, for those of you that are out there already overlanding, please share your experiences with us in the comments. There are other places that we would enjoy going to, but we don't know unless you tell us that you've been there, and we'd like to hear your experiences.
Good point.
Absolutely. That's it. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.